Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Today we are going to be talking about the top 10 teams on Global and JP Dokkan before the anniversary. I don't foresee too many things changing between now and the anniversary. This is going to be a category list updated post Glorio and Daimagoku. So Glorio, I'm sure as you guys know at this point, did kind of shake things up a little bit for one of the categories on this list, and I don't believe this team made it on the last one. So keep in mind, these are not ranked. That is going to be something that is very important throughout this video. I am not ranking these categories. These are just 10 of the best teams in the game right now, and you probably could make a case for some other categories, but as I was looking through them, these were the 10 best that stood out to me and are definitely runnable in all forms of content. So with that being said, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like before you go and make sure you subscribe as well. So let's go ahead and hop into the first team I want to talk about today, and that is Majin Buu Saga. Now with Buu Saga, we got a crazy addition over since the last list that we did, and that was the LR Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. This guy kind of comes in and makes things go, right? Offense, defense, damage reduction, has the Ki Blast counter on supers and stuff like that. This guy is really just running through events really quick, and you just have some other options now, like the Easy A's for the Super Saiyan 2 Goku and the Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta. Those guys are coming up in here and making this team work very well. There is likely an Easy A coming for the Super Saiyan 3 Goku right here, as alongside Kid Buu. Right, we have a lot of crazy good units on this team. The Tech Exchange Buu Easy A, the Tech Ultimate Gohan Easy A, the Physical Goten and Trunks Easy A, right? Lots of high quality Easy A options, as well as high quality summonable options from 2024. We have the Golden Week TUR characters, we have the new Buuhan, Gotenks like I talked about. This Gohan right here is absolutely wild, but you definitely want to run this character more with superclass allies, so a superclass Buu Saga team, definitely feasible, but you also want to keep in mind the characters like Int Fat Buu and Tech Buuhan are going to work pretty well as well on a team like Buu Saga, so always want to keep an eye on those characters right there. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team, which is going to be Universe Survival Saga. You guys know how this team works at this point. It kind of blends pretty well in with superheroes. You can do a lot of crazy good things with this setup, right? When you run like the UI Goku, Evolution Blue Vegeta, Evo Ken right here, 17 and Frieza are absolutely wild as an Easy A, especially defensively, right? A lot of good things that you can do with this character. AGL Jiren, he's coming in and making a lot of things happen, especially when you have him when you put him in a really good spot to succeed. You have his standby, you have all the tanking abilities, and then you also have the offensive prowess when you get out of the standby mode. 17 and Universe 7 is a nice little support for the reps of Universe 7 team, but it kind of blends into the Universe Survival Saga category. If you look at free-to-play characters, this hit is actually really good. Ribrianne, Kakunsa, and Rosie, a very nice utility unit with a giant form and tons of orb changing. Tech UI Goku with his domain and the counters that he is able to do, the ability to nullify dodge nullification, you know, the classic, the nullification of a nullification technique, right? AGL UI Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta, we've talked about them a bazillion times on the channel. When it comes to the upcoming Easy A's that are probably going to be happening with this team, it does get a little bit tricky, but one that jumps off the page to me is Angel Golden Frieza. I think this guy's Easy A in 2025 is very likely, and then Kale and Khalifa right here as well are probably on the books for an Easy A. And then when it comes to LRs, I believe that we could be talking about God Goku and Hit as well. So Universe Survival Saga, not as deep as some of the other categories on this list, but very top heavy and definitely one of the better categories in the game. Dokkan Fest Topo as well, can't forget him. Kefla's Easy A right down here. This Kale and Khalifa Easy A rotation is solid. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's solid, right? So a lot of really good things with this team. Let's go ahead and move on to the third one on the list, which is going to be the tried and true Hood Classic, the Superheroes team. You guys know everything. I feel like any excuse I have to talk about the Superheroes team, I don't think it's the best. Maybe it's not the best team in the game anymore. That's probably true, huh? It's kind of like, you know, we done with the 90s? Are we talking with that about superheroes now? But it's still an insane team, right? Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, this team is still bonkers. It's still very good. So, you know, Double Beast Gohan running around. You have Gogeta Blue, Orange Piccolo, Tech UI Goku, the 6-year Easy A's. Right now, the 5th-year Easy A's have limited time buffs, and they've been really fun to run. Evo Ken can easily find a way onto a superheroes team, right? The LR Gammas, with their support that they are providing, very, very good character, right? So superheroes, a little bit top heavy right now with some of the LRs, but still definitely a solid team. It's really just the presence of running 2 Beast Gohans, I think, is really what kind of like makes this team stand out above like most teams in the game, and that is a very valuable asset. But you guys know I've talked about superheroes a billion times. Let's go ahead and move on. Which, Kamehameha, this team is it's still really good, right? This is going to be one of those teams that's probably going to be insane for a long time. As long as STR Gohan is like, you know, a very, very good character, there's a good chance that this team just continues to get better and better, just based on what the anniversary is likely slated to be. There is a very, very, very high chance that the anniversary characters are on this list, or on this category. Last year was a very weird year where none of the anniversary characters were on here. Right, it's just that usually does not happen. You go back to most anniversaries, usually they find a way to sneak Kamehameha in part 1 or part 2, one way or another, and this was not the case that year, or this year. So it is what it is, or in 2024, should I say now. But again, STR Gohan, his presence always going to be helpful. The UI Gokus, the Super Saiyan trios of the world, LR Gotenks can find a way on this team if you can find a final trump card ally for him. AGL UI Goku down here, the likely 7-year EZAs that should be coming during this calendar year, or during the 10th anniversary, I should say. Tech Gogeta, transformed, probably the best character in the game. We have Evo Ken right down here, STR Vegito, the 5th year units with their anniversary buffs, this Gohan with his anniversary buff, the Cell right here if you want to count him, Daima Goku you can find a way to put on the team, right? LR Gotenks on this team. Just a lot of crazy good options. The I'm losing my train of thought here. The Golden Week characters from 2024, right? Just a lot of good characters on this team. If you need like backup reserves, you have characters like God Goku, right? Maybe this guy will get his EZA. We talked about him earlier with physical Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? Like if we're really digging deep, right? Like the reserves on this team are pretty wild. The 3rd year characters with their anniversary buffs. Just a lot of good options for Kamehameha, and this team is more than likely going to be getting 2 to 4 new additions during the anniversary. Who knows how that's going to do, or how it's going to go, but if I was betting my bottom dollar, I would say anniversary is more than likely going to have that. So let's go ahead and move on to Demonic Power. Now, Demonic Power, this is the team that I wanted to talk about. This is a big boy. This is a real team. Like this is a good one. I don't know if the roster is the most complete and the most deep, but the sheer spectacle of this team is pretty crazy right now. Like, especially, like, imagine this Gohan gets an EZA. Like, Demonic Power, you are just running through, like, what Glorio is doing, right? You could run double Glorio floating and, like, a Gohan build for this team, and it 100% would work, right? Beast Gohan, STR Gohan, being able to run these two on the same team very, very easily with a pure 200% leader skill. You have a character like Orange Piccolo. You have this Gohan with anniversary buffs. You have a Buhan rotation you could set up, right? It's very, very good. I don't think it's the most complete roster in the game, but it's an extremely well-designed team. Int Fat Buu, Harudegarn as a nice reserve, this Gohan and Piccolo as a reserve, right? Just depends on what you have, right? But like the ability to run all of these Gohans. STR Future Gohan, I would say, is runnable. It can be tough at times, but he's runnable. Who else do we have on here, right? That's like crazy. It's Lord Slug, if you want to run that sort of setup, right, with like the extra support and stuff like that. His is going to be a little bit trickier than Glorio support, though, but just it's like if you have like a 2 rotation setup and then Glorio on turn 1 and turn 2, and you're able to just loop that support, this game, like I'm telling you, Glorio is so dumb that being able to just run 2 of this Glorio, like you could easily argue right now that Glorio is just straight up the best character in the game, right? So it's crazy. Demonic Power, this is a real big boy team. It might not have the deep roster like Superheroes does, or like Kamehameha has, or the next team we're going to talk about, but the roster's still deep enough, and also it's just so like the ability to just get these, like Beast Gohan feels like a new character on this team, and that's crazy to say. That's just how good Glorio is. Even at 55% link level 1, like this guy is easily able to rip off 20 million attack stats. It's dumb. So Demonic Power, one of the better teams in the game and the newest addition to this list. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team, which is going to be Movie Bosses. And we'll talk about these teams at the same time. So Movie Bosses and Uncontrollable Power. These teams are very, very, very similar. The overlap between Uncontrollable Power and Movie Bosses, they're one and the same, right? You are me, we are one, whatever you want to say, right? These teams have a very like insanely similar core, right? Where it's the Brolys, it's Cellmax, it's Janemba, right? And then like you get access to characters like Turles over here on the movie bosses setup. But if we go to Uncontrollable Power, we have character setups like Buu, right? Fat Buu finds a way over to this team. So very nice setups here. Cellmax, the Brolys, all of these characters, Janemba, Buu, right? Tech Broly, Physical Bio Broly, if you run a full, like a mono Uncontrollable Power team. Where this gets a little bit tricky for some players, this is like a situation that I'm in on my JP account where I do not have this Broly, but that's the beauty of it. Movie bosses having the overlap, right? So if I wanted to run like a version of this team, what I would have to do is I wouldn't be able to run like the Buu and the Int Buu setup, right? I would have to just go with like straight raw movie bosses and then run like the Int Broly as a friend. So that's sort of the situation that I would be in. So I could talk to that team specifically where I would run this Tech Broly, this Cellmax right here, AGL Full Power Broly. I would run Janemba, the Tech Broly Easy A. That's an easy spot to fill in, right? If I could, I'd probably run, or if I wanted to, I could run Harudagarn, this Physical Broly trio, LR Turles. If I had, and then Lord Slug, if I had him, I'd probably run him. Just a lot of good characters on this team. So Uncontrollable Power, movie bosses, two of the better teams in the game for sure. Tech Janemba, hopefully he gets an easy A sooner rather than later. And I think these teams are going to be in business even more than they already were. One of the, probably the best improvement in 2024 was this movie bosses team. So let's go ahead and move on to the last three of the video. The next one I want to talk about today is Super Saiyans. This is a trio-led team. A lot of high-end power on the top end for this one, right? So you would run the Super Saiyan trio. You have Gohan here, Gogeta. You could even run Broly, but you probably not want to run Broly because he's got the extreme class thing. But then what you do is you run like STR Vegito. You could run Tech Gogeta. Like that's just a crazy team. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for the sixth, you could run like another version of the Super Saiyan trio. You could run this Vegeta. Even though he is extreme though, so you probably don't want to run him, right? Things can get a little bit tricky. Daima Goku definitely is an option right here if you want to run him. Like Daima Goku, the Tech Gogeta, STR Vegito, this Gohan right here, this guy right here, Gogeta, and then the Super Saiyan trio. Like you're running a really, really powerful team with a lot of support, lots of synergy. This team meshes very well together. So highly recommend running a team like this. God Goku being like a reserve is usually a good sign for how well a team is designed. The Super Saiyan little duo right here, Goten and Trunks, very nice. You have the Golden Week characters from 2021. I think these two potentially could easy A this year. I don't think they're nowhere near runnable right now, like not even close, but if they easy A, you could probably be talking about them in a pretty high light, right? But when you get down to the easy A section down here, there's a lot of old characters, but I still think Super Saiyans is definitely very top. Not even top heavy, it's pretty consistent, and you could easily run like multiple builds for that team, so that is why I have it here. Let's move on to the last two for this video, and this is probably the worst category that I've talked about in this video specifically, but it's still one of the better teams in the game. It is pretty complete, and that is mostly the presence of Cellmax, right? You run double Broly, you run Cellmax, you could run Fusamasu, you run Jiren, you run Ribrianne, Kakunsa, and Rosie. You could run like a character like Topo down here. This Inkrolton Frieza is still very good. Physical Rose, he works out well. Kefla, if you can manage some Universe 6 action in here, like that's going to work out pretty well. And then like that's basically it, right? Jiren, the Fusamasu can work out pretty well as well. But things do get a little bit tricky here, but this is just an honorable mention. Super Boss is still a very good team. Let's move on to the last one, which is going to be Transformation Boost, led by Daima Goku, led by Broly, led by Buu. However you want to set it up, it's the choice is yours, right? But this team, just a lot of versatility, a lot of different ways that you could run it. You could go like the Super Saiyan sort of focused one. You have like Daima Goku, you have AGL Broly, Physical Gogeta, right? Legendary Super Saiyan Broly you could run in there. Tech UI works even though like he doesn't always have to be on the Reps of Universe 7 team, right? Orange Piccolo, so long as you have a Bond, Master, and Disciple character running around. That would be a little bit tricky in this setup, so maybe you wouldn't want to run him on like the main Transformation Boost build, but being able to just to run Daima Goku with some of the better characters in the game, like a Broly rotation, UI Goku with somebody else, right? Like that could easily work out well for you. So Transformation Boost I always like to throw on here, kind of like I would with Pure Saiyans, just based on the roster alone. A lot of different ways that you could build this team, and it just depends on the account that you have. So there you guys have it. 10 of the better teams in Dokkan right now. Again, not a ranked list by any means, so let me know in the comment section below what you think. What are your favorite teams? What do you like to run right now? All those fun stuff. Leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you were new, and I'll see you all in the next one.